Yes, maybe
Right
it would be
now?
good to. Did you forward to Simon? Is that?
Yeah, there's Simon.
Yeah, I'm in.
Simon, do you have a share button on the bottom? The share
Yep.
screen button.
Yep.
Okay, good. Then
I'm
you're
going to
allowed
try and share now. Can you see my screen?
Yes, perfect. Because we were unsure if we can do it. Okay, great. There's Bernd and Chris.
Oh, great. Good.
How much time do we still have? Do you have good numbers, Mario?
We have now 11 participants, and we have the speakers in the room.
Yeah. Maybe wait for another 1 minute.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we had 12 participants and we have Cornelia in the room. We're still connecting. Just a little bit of housekeeping.
Maybe we
when
can
you
start.
speak. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to pin your video so it's for everybody visible on the bigger screen.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, but otherwise, Thomas, do you think we could start?
Yes.
Okay.
Fine. Okay, let's start then. Friends and colleagues, good morning, good evening, hello, wherever you are. A warm welcome to this virtual room at the annual GLAD meeting, where we would like to share our experiences on making digital training inclusive. I'm Cornelia Henriksen. I'm the focal point of disability inclusion at the German Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development, in short, BMZ. This session we have organized together with our friends and partners who are co-funding and implementing the project from the United Kingdom, Norway, Germany, and Kenya. It is an opportunity to show how to join hands as development partners and members of GLAD. So, what will we be talking about today? We will be sharing with you models of how partners cooperate, how inclusion of persons with disabilities in digital training can be easily developed, and how the private sector can be involved as strategic partners and in opening jobs and internship. In Kenya, the model which we are sharing today is called Bridge Academy. It is providing digital skills training on cybersecurity to persons with disabilities. We are very grateful to be part of this collaboration between BMZ, FCDO and NORAD, together with the government of Kenya, valuable partners from the private sector like Cisco Networking Academy and Safaricom, the international NGO Sightsavers, and the Inclusive Futures program funded by the UK. Two of our projects implemented by GIZ are involved as well. Having said that, let me hand over and welcome our speakers, Simon Brown from Sightsavers and Chris Otundu from Safaricom, to share with us their exciting information. Thank you. Simon, please take over your turn. Thanks.
Sorry, I was struggling to unmute. Thank you, Cornelia. Yes, so my name is Simon Brown. I'm the Global Technical Lead for Economic Empowerment at Sightsavers. And just to introduce the Bridge Academy and the thinking behind it, yeah, that we know labour markets will unquestionably recover in the next economic cycle, far more digital and likely far more distanced. Yeah, this is a trend that was already there before coronavirus. We know that the acceleration of digitalization is there and will increase as economies recover. That creates breakthrough opportunities for youth with disabilities. If we can overcome the barriers which prevent them from meaningfully accessing digital skills development programs, and an imperative then to bridge young people with disabilities into the digital opportunities of the present and of the future. And this is the thinking, the rationale behind the academy. Even though we began to plan for this academy before the emergence of the coronavirus. The academy itself is hosted or will be hosted in the National Industrial Training Authority campus in Nairobi, a very well established technical vocational education campus, and will study or deliver the Cisco certified network associate qualification or certification for up to 40 youth with disabilities from across the country. We're currently just finalizing the 40. They've been through quite a process of selection. And what's important here is that we create not just a training opportunity, but an ecosystem where it's not just about getting a qualification, it's also about linking that qualification into at least a guaranteed internship with Kenya's leading disability inclusive employer and largest telecommunications provider, Safaricom. And we're tremendously grateful to Chris and the Safaricom team for making this happen. Yeah, that we not just create a theoretical training, but also a practical internship, which will lead to being far more competitive in that jobs market as jobs re-emerge. And also leveraging Accenture's Skills to Succeed learning exchange platform to increase the non-technical employability skills. So things around self-confidence and an ability to present oneself far more competitively in the jobs market. We are launching the Academy on the 22nd of March, or the week of the 22nd of March. And we're really tremendously excited. The laboratory is just being finished this week. The furniture arrives next week, the equipment the week after, and then the students. So with that, I'm going to hand over to Chris Otundu, the Senior Manager, Talent Acquisition and Capability at Safaricom PLC, to give us a bit of perspective on why this academy is important or relevant to the private sector. So Chris, over to you.
Thank you so much, Simon. As you've all heard, my name is Chris Otundu. It's a pleasure to meet you all, and I lead talent acquisition for Safaricom, the largest telecommunication company in East Africa. Also happens to be a large employer, 6,000 plus employees in the region. While many employers like Safaricom are determined to bridge the gap in creation of opportunities for youth with disabilities, talent leads like myself struggle to onboard or present any of the candidates who apply for our roles because more and more line managers are concerned about real tangible skills required to deliver on real and immediate business objectives. More so with many organizations across the globe adopting a digital transformation strategy. Some of the skills we are currently sourcing for include cybersecurity, user experience designers, researchers, developers, product owners, agile coaches, and all of these are some of the skills that we believe the Academy is going to support us to train. We're excited about the Academy because it'll allow us to find a pipeline of possible candidates for the future who we are committing that should they get to a certain level, a threshold of skill set, we will provide them with immediate internships. But more importantly, the goal is to eventually provide them with real employment opportunities. So we're excited to be a partner, and we look forward to working with you, Simon, and team on this exciting journey. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you, Chris. Okay, so we've introduced the Academy, and we thought it might be we've got plenty of time to then see if anybody has any questions or anything particularly you want to hear more about the Academy. So we will kind of open it up to everybody to have that opportunity to ask what you want really about the Academy.
Stop recording. Note 522. Create.
Hello.
Yes. Hi.
Start
Yes.
recording.
Okay. My name is Theophilos Odaudu, and I'm program officer for Nigeria for the Disability Rights Fund. I'm joining in from Abuja in Nigeria. I thought it's a good idea, and I like what the Academy is set up to do. As of course, there is that skill gap among persons with disabilities. Looking at the background, the type of training we get in schools, and the exposure gap between persons with disabilities and those without disabilities in the society. So I just wanted to know what is the criteria to get people into the Academy. And since it is situated in Kenya, in East Africa, is it open to persons with disabilities across Africa, or it is focusing on a particular region or a particular country for now? Thank you.
A number of really good questions there. The qualifications, and I think this is very important. Part of the reasoning why people with disabilities struggle to be able to get into these kinds of certification programs is the educational qualification. That's one of the barriers for people being able to participate. What we've done is taken away that. There is no educational qualification. There is an interview process that everybody has followed, and also then an assessment around aptitude to work in IT, as I took when I was a very young person 40 years ago, before I started working in IT with Barclays Bank. An assessment on whether an individual has the aptitude to work or to study in IT. This is the process, but there's no qualification. Our principle also is that the student will not pay. That in this pilot, we are of course benefiting from the investments of our donors in BMZ and NORAD and UK aid, but even going forward, and as we model the financial business plan for the Academy going forward, the principle is that the individual will never pay. Yeah, that we will find ways to finance this kind of skills development, recognizing that people with disabilities will find that financial barrier very difficult to overcome. Now, in terms of the pilot, it is for Kenyan nationals living in Kenya. I hope, as we get through the pilot, that we're able then to find ways to scale it up in not only in Kenya but also in other context. So I hope one day you'll also see that in Nigeria also.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Hello, my name is Jennifer Pai from the International Institute for Educational Planning, UNESCO. I have a question regarding the evaluation, monitoring of this pilot in terms of following perhaps the participants as to how effectively they will use the skills in the work environment after completion. So what are some of the ideas, or what is the monitoring evaluation framework that you've set up for this? Thank you.
Thanks, Jennifer. In terms of the framework itself, let me step back a bit. In terms of the academy itself, it's part of two very much kind of more much larger programs. One, the Employment for Development program from GIZ in Kenya, but also then the Inclusion Works program funded by UK Aid. And so they are part of a much bigger kind of monitoring framework. Within certainly the Inclusion Works part of this, we have a very clear monitoring framework in terms of tracking each participant that enrolls in, that participates in, and hopefully benefits from the program itself. So there's a monitoring framework that tracks the individual, and the individual is able then to express how the skills are benefiting them and positioning them in their own mind for a much more competitive proposition to get employed. What we do have also is very much then a job seeker pathway, which includes mentoring, but includes also how we support both the individual and the employer after employment as part of our disability confidence programming, both from an employer's disability confidence, but also the job seeker. So there's a pathway of support which continues, not just, which doesn't end at the end of the training, but continues then through employment. And I think the mentoring is a really good part of that. But the core is that the individual will be reporting back into the monitoring and evaluation framework on how they feel this is benefiting them in terms of positioning themselves for employment. Thanks, Jennifer. There's a question there from Theophilus around the duration of the training and do participants get assistive devices. The duration of the training is 9 months. So this is also an adaptation from the normal 4 months that a Cisco Academy would take. So we've consciously lengthened that based on experiences of similar academies, bridging academies in North America and in Europe. So the training is 9 months. The internship is for 3 months. So a year of investment from the individual, but also from the program in the individual. Do the participants get assistive devices? Absolutely, yes. As I said very briefly, that the participants now are in the final stages of selection. They've just completed their aptitude testing assessments this week. And we will make the final selection actually this afternoon as to who the final 40 will be. And then we will work with each individual on what reasonable accommodation is needed for them each to participate within the training. And our absolute principle in this program is that nobody will be excluded because they do not have access to reasonable accommodation or assistive devices. So that is a clear principle and one which is very important to us.
Simon, this is Cornelia. Maybe we still have time for one short question to you and or Chris. I'd like to know how many applicants did you have so far How do you think word is spread in Kenya about the academy? And what would you think is the percentage between men and ladies? Of course, that is a question towards gender. So I would be happy if you can answer. Thanks.
Yep, sure. We had, and sorry, Chris, I'll answer it because that would be unfair to pass it to you. We had almost 500 applications. We opened the window of applications just before the Christmas break, and we closed it on the 10th of January. And during that period, we had almost 500 applications through social media. Yeah, so we were only using social media plus the connections through organizations of people with disabilities, and from those 500 applications, we went through a long listing process where we were able to create which everybody then got an interview from that long list. And from that, we created a short list of 62 people who would then proceed to the next stage, which then was the aptitude assessment. So a huge number of applications, and we should not underestimate people's access to social media and the support from organizations of persons with disabilities in order to make people more aware of the opportunity. But it obviously generated a significant amount of excitement over a fairly short period of time, when people were perhaps distracted by end of year celebrations. So we're very happy that there is a clear demand for it. Yep. So we move from there. Chris, I don't know whether you wanted to very briefly say about anything around how you see the interest from young people and young people with disabilities in terms of digital skills in Kenya.
So I think to answer your question, it's more around opportunities to actually upskill, and these are very rare. So an opportunity like this is one that is extremely welcome, because a lot of times they're not able to find or afford to be in such a program. We always direct them to online programs on Udemy, Coursera, LinkedIn, but these are very costly courses. And so the opportunity to be part of this program that is targeting them specifically is really welcome.
Excellent. Thanks, Chris. I think with that, we should probably pass across to Harriet, recognizing that we've probably got about 3 minutes before the Zoom will redirect everybody into the main meeting room. So Harriet, over to you.
Thanks so much, Simon, and thank you very much for the presentations and the interesting discussion. At the FCDO, we absolutely recognise that all of the challenges that people with disabilities face in gaining employment and training opportunities, and they were already starting from quite a low base pre-pandemic, and a lot of these challenges have been exacerbated by the pandemic as well. So opportunities like this to build back better and more inclusive economy and more inclusive training opportunities are crucially important. And I think what this initiative also shows is the importance of working together. So bringing together the private sector, bringing together disparate donors, and making sure that we're all kind of working towards this shared goal. And I think the importance of innovation as well, thinking differently about things and looking as to how we can overcome these barriers. And because of all of these challenges and opportunities, the FCDO continues to be very much committed to the neglected issue of disability inclusion, especially now that we're a newly merged organisation. So just to say kind of thank you so much to the participants of this webinar as well for asking lots of interesting questions, and I hope that everyone else enjoys the rest of the GLAD AGM today. Thanks.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Thank you for everybody for participating. We still have maybe a minute or so. So if there was anything that anybody had to ask or to say, then feel free whilst we're waiting for the automatic redirection.
Simon, hi, this is Dom, Chair of IDDC. I just think maybe in the response to Cornelia, is it worth just talking a little bit about the gender issue? Because I think you covered
Oh, yes.
the other really well, but yeah.
Yep. And thank you, Dom, for reminding me. Our commitment, Cornelia, on gender is as close as possible to parity. What we did see in the applications that there was still an imbalance in terms of more male than female participants, but our commitment, both with the Employment for Development program and the Inclusion Works program, is to get as close to parity as we possibly can. And thankfully, in the shortlisting, again, whilst we haven't got it exactly right, we are beginning to make sure that does happen. That is our commitment as far as we possibly can.
Pause recording.
Thank you, Simon. Okay, thanks.
Stop recording. Note 523.
Okay, we have a countdown.
Yeah, I was going to say I have a question of my own, but in 45 seconds, I think it might be a toughie. But I think the really interesting thing to think through is what are the elements of this that are important to replicate in order for it to go beyond being a pilot and into being something which does work in Nigeria and Uganda and Zambia and Malawi and so on. Because obviously the fact that it's really connected with bigger programs gives it huge opportunity from everything that you're saying. But if those other programs don't exist in those contexts, then is it possible? You know, so what other opportunities are there that are out there? But I'm not expecting you to answer that in 14 seconds.
No, but it is definitely in our minds, and part of the work we then do at Accenture to build business models that allow these things to at least sustain themselves. But yeah, we'll come back to you on that, Dom.